Revenant Recon. This is actually, I'm going to be honest with you, and I was texting with you about this deck. There isn't a lot of inspiration in this deck. I don't like this. Of all 4 decks, I don't like this one. Like, this is my least favorite. So, all right, let's just go with it. So we have is it Murko? Murko. You could hit that button. Obsessive Theorist. Hit the button for me.
I'm going to do it now.
It is a vampire detective 1/3 flying vigilance. Whenever you surveil, put a 1/1 counter on Murko. God damn it.
He can't even read.
At the beginning of your end step, you may return target creature card with power less than Murko's from the graveyard to the battlefield.
Great job there, though. But
with a finality counter. We're not going to use the other one, the Marvo Deep Operative. We're using the surveil part of this. They already have a lot of the surveil stuff in here. So my thought with this deck is there is like 0 protection. And it feels like this is more of it. You're wanting to cheat in creatures from the graveyard because you're surveilling, you're throwing them in the graveyard, and then you get them back for free with a finality counter on it, and then you can swing in. But you can't get the big ones unless this gets big enough. So there's no protection of this at all. So my thought with this deck is to kind of go the angle of 1, having more triggers, and 2, protecting it. There just needs to be more protection. So this isn't going to be the next deck is really interesting. This one is just pretty straightforward of the adds and drops and all that stuff. So first off, I cut 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cards, I believe.
Okay.
I think I cut 8 cards in this. So we'll just start from the beginning. The first one is going to be, oh yeah, this isn't in order, but Phyrexian Metamorph. I think because it's the 0/0 is why they have this in there, because then you're able to bring it back, and then it becomes a copy of something. So it can come in immediately when it goes to your graveyard. I got rid of it because I'm just like, I want more surveil stuff, or I want more protection or copies. So I just got rid of that card.
Okay.
I know it's a good card.
Don't listen to any inflections in my voice.
Okay.
I'm here with everybody else. I'm hemming and hawing. I want to see how it is at the end.
Okay. Yeah. So Whispering Snitch, I got rid of that one. It's whenever you surveil your first time each turn, or each turn, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. You gain a life. You're not doing that much where this is really going to make a difference. If it allowed you to do it every time you surveilled, sure, then you can have this in there, but it's you only can do it the one time.
Trigger.
Yep. So I just think that one's kind of crap in this. We also have Grave Titan, which, holy crap, you're not bringing this back from your graveyard. You got to get your commander up to 6. So are you just straight casting?
I would assume that they're thinking that Murko is going to get real big off of your surveilling, but
it just doesn't fit in here. It's just too large. Same with I did Overseer of the Damned. You have a 5/5. It costs 7. Don't know why this is in here. I'd much rather have something that's smaller that you can bring back, that you can destroy something. I don't know if that's the point of what you're doing with this, but too big for what I'm trying to do here.
Like Ravenous Chupacabra.
Yeah,
like
that is in
4 mana, destroy a creature, block, dies, comes back real easy.
Yep, and that is in the deck. And then I think that's it for, I have Deep Analysis, which I believe we get into the, there it is. So this one, this can be good because you're throwing it in your graveyard and then you're able to flash it back. So I get why it's in there. I just got rid of it because I wanted to add some more stuff in here. So this was one of the cuts I had to do. Okay. I just didn't want it there. Then we have Ransom Note. God, Ransom Note. Was Ransom Note in your decks? Because they fucking are force feeding this in these decks. But Ransom Note is the artifact.
Yeah, I guess that's the other thing is, like, I didn't want to touch any new cards coming out. Like, I left all that alone. But there's plenty of cards that are new to the Precons that could be taken out as well.
Where is it? I could have sworn
It'd be down in the new card section.
Oh, you're right. Okay, so I got to get down past this. Oh, other. So ransom note. Ah, shit. It has modes on it.
Bad.
And they are all pretty terrible because you got to tap 2 to do one of the modes, and you have to tap, I believe, 1 or 2 to bring it out. I think you get to scry or surveil when it comes out. I don't know. I don't like. I took them out of both decks, just a little foreshadowing. And then I got rid of 2 lands. One of them does get replaced, but they are playing with 36 lands in this. I could have sworn it was 37. It is other. What do we have here?
Takassia's dig site is a land.
Okay, I was gonna say I thought they had 37 because I went down to 35. I got rid of Ash Barrens and Hostile Desert. I don't like those cards.
Disagree.
I know you like Ash Barrens.
Ash Barrens is awesome.
I don't put it in any deck, so I took those out. I will tell you this: I did replace Ash Barrens with Undercity Sewers, which is a new card, and it has Surveil. It's the one that you can fetch for. I mean, so I added that one in instead, so that took that place. Okay, so those are my cuts. I got rid of all that stuff. Let's jump over to the ads here, and we are in the Recon, right? Revenant Recon. Okay, so like I mentioned, I kind of wanted to go more Voltron. I wanted my commander is the one that's going to be winning me the game. So I wanted multiple triggers of things here and the protection. So Auton Soldier, which is from the Doctor Who stuff. So this is kind of like our, well, actually, I'm going to get to that in a second, Spark Double stuff. So it's for 6, so it's a lot, but when it enters the battlefield, you can have it be a copy of any creature on the battlefield, except it isn't legendary. It's an artifact in addition to its other types and has Myriad. So if I pick something else, I can attack, and it makes multiple copies. Kind of fun there. So you can have it be a copy of your commander. That's where I'm kind of going with this.
Right.
And it kind of blends into my Mr. Unlimited as well. You mentioned this card as a great protection spell for black. It is Gift of Doom. So it's a 4 and 1 black enchant creature, or you can morph it. You put it down for 3, and then to flip it over, you sacrifice a creature. This deck is dealing with things going to your graveyard and bringing them back, so sacking a creature is going to be very easy.
Right.
When you attach it, that creature gains Death Touch and Indestructible, and you can attach it to any creature when you turn it face up. So.
And you can sacrifice that like Myriad creature that you're about to sacrifice anyway. Point, yeah. Works there. I personally love that card. It's morph it and then sack a creature to surprise them or at your leisure and benefit.
And we talked about that card a couple weeks ago on our protection stuff. So surprisingly, Sakashima the Imposter, Spark Double are both relatively cheapish cards. Sakashima, these are my most expensive. But Spark Double's $369 because they reprinted it just recently.
Just got that reprint. You lucky son of a gun.
And Sakashima is $570, so this is my most expensive card. What these do is they come in, you make copies of your commander, so being able to get multiple triggers with your commanders getting 1/1 counters on it and bringing stuff back from the graveyard, I think is going to be fantastic. So it's always good when you're trying to utilize your commander and being able to use these cards. If you're have blue, it's always nice to use these.
And I like how I think that's the right way. Like when you took out that copy artifacts, that I think you replace it with ones that can copy still anything that it can.
Right.
But your commander as well.
Yeah. That's a good point. Spark Double is a 0/0, so this one can come back to if you throw it in your graveyard.
And Sakashima is only 3, and that seems very doable.
Yep. And one of your favorites, Spellskite. This is for a little bit of my protection there. And I put Swiftfoot Boots. I know I ripped these out of there, but out of a lot of my decks because I try to find different protection. But when you're dealing with blue and black, I'm either going to be playing counter spells for protection, and black really doesn't have much. So Spellskite, Swiftfoot Boots
Dash Hopes
gets in there. I'm actually surprised that Swiftfoot Boots isn't in this deck. And then we have the last two, which is the Undercity Sewers. The Surveil works with the deck, and then Whisper Silk Cloak. So we're adding protection and then unblockability. So This is not my favorite of the two. I love the next one that I'll be talking about, but we're talking about this one right now. If I was handed this deck, this is what I would do. I would try to make it more Voltron, trying to get multiple triggers. Then if I had budget wise, I am over budget. I pulled a Lowry here because you did this last time. I'm at $20.62. So
I was at $20.20. That's a huge difference.
Huge. So I'm a little bit over budget by 62 cents, but I think some of these cards might come down. The Undercity Sewers might come down a little bit.
Also, we could just say that likely you have a Swiftfoot Boots lying around, so just take that out of the budget.
You don't even have to. Yeah, you take another look at any other precon, and that's in there. So yeah. Now we get into if you had Mr. Unlimited.
Mr. Unlimited.
I do. Well, I understand that we are trying to be on time, but I think maybe one thing that you're might not be liking is Surveil's not really a huge mechanic at this point.
Right.
Like this set is going to roughly double the amount of Surveil cards that are there. And those even, they're not even out yet. Maybe, if you went to the pre-release, you're going to have some time to play around with it, but it's hard to know which Surveil cards you really like and want to be in here. And oftentimes when it comes to a mechanic, if it's only been in 2 colors one time 5 years ago, like there's not going to be a lot there to work with. Like they reprinted a lot of the good ones. There's a couple more that I think could have went in here, but maybe. I also didn't like scour the precon or what, this wasn't my job. This was yours. And so,
well, the thing is I didn't want to like the point of that was there was everything that has Surveil stayed in the deck. I didn't take any Surveil stuff out. When I'm looking at it, I was like, well, yeah, if I'm surveilling and if I add more Surveil in there, there's no protection for that commander. The commander's going to die. Like that was my problem with it is like there's 0 protection in that deck. And I'm like, well, you just target that once and I start from scratch again. And it's like, this sucks because all this work of building this up and all that. I'm like, how does this deck even win? Like there's no way that this deck wins. You just take out the commander once and you're kind of screwed. So I get that.
I get that. And I think my biggest thing for it would be just like, what are the payoffs for surveilling? It's your commander in this deck, and that's about it, just because it's very limited in what they've done with the deck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or with the mechanic, not the deck. But with the mechanic, you took out one of like 3 payoffs. Whenever you surveil, something happens and you're like 1 damage per turn if you can do it,
and I have to do it on other people's turn to be able to do that.
Right. And it's just like that's not the payoff you want.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so I agree. There just isn't I don't think there's a lot to work with. I think it's obvious what you're going to be working with, and so you gotta do this what deck, it is.
And if you want to build this deck, I go for it. This one was not fun to like. The next one I really like.
Sorry.
Mr. Unlimited.
All right, so again, we're going with a little bit more protection stuff and adding more to it. Dance of the Dead is being able to bring back creatures from your graveyard. So stuff that you're surveilling away. Did I write down prices? I don't think I wrote. No, I just wrote them down. But Dance of the Dead is in there. Helm of the Host is like an $8, $9, $10 card. So you're adding more tokens of your commander. Lightning Greaves. Again, I tend to take my Lightning Greaves and Swiftfoot Boots out because I find other ways to protect, but I think it needs to be in here, and that's a $7, $8 card. Mithril Coat, I think, is fantastic, but it's already over $10, so this one was tough to get in. Roaming Throne is an all-star. Getting double triggers on your Surveil, being able to bring back 2 creatures instead of just 1. This is just an all-star in there, but that's $20-some. Sakashima I wanted to put in, and I wanted that secret layer to already be out because I think the price would drop, but not enough because this is over $30.
I don't think it'd drop enough.
Yeah, that wouldn't get there, but that would be fantastic to get another duplicate. And then lastly, Scarab God, and I did see somebody say this deck reminds them of their Scarab God deck where it brings back stuff. So if this was in there, you're able to bring a lot more stuff back with that as well. So I think this one needs some tweaks. It's not my favorite, but this is what I would do if this is what I was given for that. So,
well, it definitely seems like I like the direction of making it much more of a reanimate deck.
And also, yes, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Renshai said
Legend Shredder, anything that draws and discards card, because one thing that sucks about reanimation decks is getting a big fatty or just anything you want to reanimate just kind of stuck in your hand.
Yeah.
You don't want to cast the cards that you're reanimating unless they're just value picks like we were talking about earlier. But yeah, draw discard would be necessary in this. This one I think needs a lot of work.
Yep.